And we're live. Hello, 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 my friends. Welcome. So what I did was I taught two classes this morning. I had a 6:30 a.m. class and I had an 8 a.m. class. And I had such a crazy, bizarre, weird day yesterday that I closed the rest of my bookings and I relaxed. And I set up my live video and I went back to sleep for an hour and I set an alarm, and it's a good thing too, or I would have just slept through and not had my live this morning. So I just got up here to my office a couple minutes ago and I've been starting to chip away at reading the huge conversation y'all have been having. Hello. If there is a Spanish phrase you'd like to learn, let me know. Are my kids still asleep? David Joshua is. The girls just woke up as I woke up. I gave them sippy cups of milk and turned on their favorite show, Doc McStuffins. So that is what they wanted, and that is what they got. Cup of milk and Doc McStuffins. Look, you can tell I was sleeping. This is not a scratch. This is a wrinkle from the bed. And I've got like lipstick on my teeth. Sorry, guys. My hair is glam today. Thanks. It was messy, and at the last second I put a part in it, and this is my naturally curly, thick hair. So I took my daughter, Deborah, who's 3, to get a haircut because she has thick, wavy hair like mama, and that's hard to deal with when you have a little girl who's sensory sensitive and doesn't like having her hair brushed, doesn't like having, her hair shampooed and stuff like that. And she's also strong-willed. So forcing her makes her like kind of traumatized and more strong-willed against it. Anyway, so I've been teaching her how to, during her bath time, use the shower head and get a squirt of shampoo and shampoo her own hair, because her being in control of it, she's doing it herself. So anyway, I took her to get her hair cut. I think it's not fair that Esther's growing her hair out long and she's got thick, straight hair, so it's a lot easier to manage. And Deborah's got the wild child hair like mine. So I'm letting her keep her length, but I'm layering it kind of like mine, so that it's easier to handle, less tangles, and it has a cute little form to it. So they did that. They trimmed her bangs and they trimmed her layers and kept the length except for the split ends, and turned out really cute. Yes, this is naturally my hair. I have naturally wavy hair. There are people with curlier hair than me. I don't know if I would call it curly, but it's definitely got curlier as I've gotten older. The shorter it is, the more curly it is. As it gets longer, the weight of it kind of makes it just wavy, not curly. But yeah, so Deborah is blessed with the same kind of hair, which has a mind of its own and is a pain. So I have a few things I want to talk about. Yesterday was crazy. So what happened was, you'll see what had happened was, so we paid $800 to have a guy fix our central AC. And that's not including the $800 in parts that we didn't have to pay for because of the warranty on the thing. That thankfully my husband could figure it out. So since we paid the guy $800 to fix our central AC, we returned our $600 AC unit, window AC unit, because we had a 90-day window that you can return it, right? And we kept it in good condition. My husband's good at packing it back up how it was and being honest that, we used this a little bit and now we don't need it, right? Returned it. Actually, before we had to pay a penny on it. Yeah, Danny said, whoa, $600. There are cheaper ones for like $200, but they only chill one room. We wanted one that chilled the whole floor, so we got one of those. So now that hair that you just complimented, it's going up in a ponytail. Sorry, guys. So This has been the hairdo I've been rocking all the time, even though it's not that much. So then after he returned the window unit, we realized that our central air was not working. Woo! So that guy had to come back. And he said he would come back at 2 p.m. He didn't come back until 3. And he told us to turn our AC off. But I had to stay home with the kids because the guy was coming and my husband had to work. So there's that. So that guy came at 3. They didn't finish until 7:30 p.m. because like outside it was making a hissing noise. And inside, it was about like 87 degrees outside at night and 80 degrees in our house. So it wasn't really cooling it off that well for all night running it. And it turned out that we had a filter that was completely clogged. So they had to buy a new filter. So they took a long time going to the store and buying a new filter. Then they took a long time coming back. It was really hot, so they were taking their time and working on it and stuff. And meanwhile, our house is getting hotter and hotter. And I've got 3 little kids, right? But we have to stay there. So they bought a new one. The new one that they bought had a leak in it. So they had to go back to the store, which took a long time, and come back, which it took a long time for them to come back. And then they were working on it. But when I went outside, I was like, how's the work doing? They were like sitting down. So I decided, okay, I gave my kids some snacks and some cartoons. I decided to come outside and sit by the workers and see how progress was going. And it's funny how when you do that, they start getting to work. I'm not saying they weren't working on it. I'm just saying it took 4.5 hours to do something that maybe shouldn't have taken that long. Anyway. But they got the job done. So thankful. My husband originally was disappointed that he paid $800 in labor for what he found out later. Other companies would have charged less. So when they came back and did more work but didn't charge extra, we're like, okay, they earned their $800, right? So yeah. I sat by them. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna sit down right here and see how it's going and play a game on my phone or whatever. And suddenly they both were working. They went from sitting down to both working on it. So funny how construction gets done a little faster under supervision. So I had 2 classes last night scheduled for 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Oh, here's another little adventure that happened. We have an alarm system. So I had the alarm system off the whole time that they were here. But when the guys came to the door and told me that they were done and that it was good, and I felt that the AC was working and everything, it was time for me to get ready for my class. So I locked the door and I set the alarm system. Not smart, Evelyn. Not smart, Evelyn. Not smart at all. So I decided I'm going to set up in the bathroom downstairs my iPad and everything, and kept coming upstairs for whiteboards and puppets and things and headphones because you need a few things to teach. And so got a folding chair and everything. So I set up, and then my daughter, my 4-year-old, praise God for her. She always informs me of things I'm uninformed of. She said the alarm's going off. So I have my alarm system turned down because if my kids are sleeping and it goes off, we don't want them to wake up. So it had transmitted a message to the police station that someone had broken in our home, because what happened was, they told me they were done, but they had left their tools in the basement. So they went in the basement door. So that triggered our alarm because I had turned it off. And so even though I put in my code and it said we're transmitting a cancellation for the message that was already sent to the police, even when a cancellation is transmitted, it's kind of like when you call the police and hang up, they still have to come and check it out. So I was just about to teach classes, 4 minutes till class. almost pushed the start class button, and mommy said, Daddy, someone's, no, let me rephrase that. Esther, my 4-year-old, said, Mommy, someone's knocking on the door. And I'm like, how much you want to bet it's the police? I answered the door. I said, I am so sorry. I transmitted a cancellation. It was an accident. You see, there was people. They were working on the AC unit. I am so sorry for wasting your time. Thank you for caring enough about us, for coming. We are okay. They said, even when you transmit a cancellation, we still have to check it out. I'm like, okay. And then it turns out there was another cop that had gone around to our back door in case we were like being held hostage. I was like, thank you guys. I'm so sorry. Go on to real crimes, please. I'm really sorry I wish I had milk and cookies to give you. I'm so sorry for wasting your time. Oh, that's like almost like when I was little, my brother handed me the phone and told me, dial 911. Then he ran out of the room. So I pushed 911. I was like 2 years old. My mom comes in the room. I'm like, Mark told me to do it, you know? It was kind of like that. Like I felt like a real dummy. Like, I'm sorry. Anyway, so our AC is working. So all night long it was working. And anyway, our house is cooled off. Even my office is cooled off, which is really, really nice. And it makes you really appreciate things you forget to be thankful for, right? Yesterday, Danny was talking about gratefulness. Y'all need to be grateful for air conditioning if you have it. Oh, I wanted to show you a free prop. It came off the box of breakfast sandwiches. I cut some extra ones to save for if I send out some care packages. But today we were talking about breakfast. I was like, oh, my prop is cut out, but it's in the kitchen. It's not in my office. But this is for me to show my kids. I know you guys know that before, at least Danny does, before I was pregnant, I would teach my classes and then have a bowl of chocolate cereal. That was like my routine. Now what I do is I eat a breakfast sandwich from Aldi. 4 come in a box for $4. It's like $1. I think it's okay. Before I worked for VIPKID, it was out of the budget. Now it's in the budget. So I eat one of these yummies every morning before classes. So some people drink coffee. I eat a little protein, gets me going. And being pregnant, I kind of need that. So get some protein and definitely drinking lots of extra water. What I do is I put a little bit of lemonade in my water just for a little bit of flavor, and it helps me to drink more of it. I always put a little bit of ice in there too. But up here in my classroom, I'm just drinking water from the sink. But it's good to drink lots of water, especially when it's hot out. So that's my adventure. I wanted to talk about teaching from the iPad. So my first class, as you may or may not have seen, Danny saw it and Kelly saw it. My first class of the day, my first iPad in the bathroom class was a no-show, which was like a godsend because I was figuring things out. And you see, I teach upstairs. I teach upstairs. It's scary sometimes. No, I teach upstairs with a baby gate at the bottom of the stairs so that if my kids yell up to me, I can like close the door of my office and hardly hear them. Whereas opposed to the bathroom downstairs has a lock on it, but it's a little hook loop lock that I installed myself for a couple of dollars. And my 4-year-old, if she pushes on the door enough times, the door opens. So it's not the most secure lock ever. Also, my kids can walk up right to the door and scream and cry at the door and knock at the door. And so I gave them their TV shows and was thankful for a student no-show. And my second class, I taught. Hello, Cindy Bennett. So I'm glad you're here because I'm now going to talk about teaching on an iPad. And I have a question for you. How well does teaching with a headset work for you? Because I was teaching with a headset, my student couldn't hear me, and I couldn't see how toilet teaching. Ha 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 ha. Very funny. The toilet was my desk. Okay, I was on a folding chair. Just kidding. I would not teach a set of a bunch of classes in a row like that, but it was sort of my test. So my student couldn't hear me with the headset on, but we had no sound problems with this headset off. I sort of toyed with the idea for a half a second of keeping the headset unplugged and on my head so the fireman would think it was plugged in, but I felt dishonest doing that, so I just took the headset off and we had a good class. Hopefully, I woke up this morning with one parent feedback and I was like, I got a bad feedback from my class last night for sure. And nope, it was a different student giving me 5 apples. I was like, thank you, Jesus. All right. Anyway, the headset did work, as in I heard my student. It did not work as in my student heard me. So, and that's true too, that the little microphone, it was just showing one line. It wasn't showing like 1 out of the 4. So it wasn't showing a lot of power, but it was plugged in and working as far as volume. But not sure. Maybe I need to get a different headset that's more compatible with the iPad. I don't know. This one works great with my laptops and everything. I don't know. My original headset audio worked, but the mic was from the iPad, said Cindy. No need really for a headset. Okay, good. Good to know. So that's Cindy's 2 cents. I also I'm wearing a dress underneath my shirt. I wanted to give a shout out to Cindy Bennett's iPad group. Check it out. It is on Facebook. Cindy Bennett, thank you for the thumbs up on the live. Cindy Bennett, would you type in the chat box the name of your iPad group? I think it's called VIPKID iPad. VIPKID iPad Teachers Inc. No, I don't know. Cindy, type it. Let's see. iPad. Okay, here we go. This is my shout out to Cindy's group. Cindy is the creator of this group, and Cindy is my friend. VIPKID teachers use iPads to teach. Join soon if you're on Facebook. Danny hates Facebook. Yeah, I know. And so does teacher Heather. We know. Yeah. I feel like I can either be on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm not about to be doing both. Watch me change that up in the future, though. I don't know. Okay, so there's this. If you're not on Facebook, you probably don't know this. There's this trend going around. This is my original photo. There's this trend going viral for people to use this app to see what they would look like old. This is me old. Not bad, not bad. My husband said, "Esa vieja," that old woman. He was joking. Somebody else was like, "Todavía tu mujer es hermosa, David. Your wife is still beautiful." He was joking. Anyway, that's how I've gotten used to humor. My first year of marriage, I spent being confused or offended by my husband's way of joking. And mostly I've adjusted to his humor, and a little bit he's adjusted to my personality. So it's been a little bit give and take, but it took us a little while. He's learned a couple of his jokes are not funny. But his way of joking is kind of that teasing, ornery stuff. But that's just my husband, like saying, esa vieja. And so I just joke like that too sometimes. Whenever I sneeze, he says it sounds like an old woman. which it's just a really loud sneeze. Whenever he blows his nose, I tell him it sounds like 100 elephants. So if he doesn't like me saying blowing his nose sounds like 100 elephants, he needs to stop telling me I sound like an old woman when I sneeze. So anyway, that's our little, we're not argumentative. We're just kind of we tease. We bother each other. It's like, are we married or are we brother and sister? We like to annoy each other a little bit. He likes to annoy anyone that he loves, so I guess I should be flattered, right? Getting off topic. Anyway, so that class went well once I took my headset off. Cindy Bennett highly recommends using a keyboard. That was not in our budget to get. She said that you can get one pretty affordably. Join her iPad group or send her a message to find out more. Cindy is thinking of starting to do live videos soon, so we're looking forward to that. Yeah, Teacher Kim said I annoy my husband too. I think that all husbands and wives annoy each other, but whether you take it with humor or not, depends on how much you enjoy being annoyed by each other, if that makes any sense. So you can either be annoyed and let it ruin your day, or you can be annoyed and laugh about it. I'd rather laugh because, and I've said this before, I don't like to talk a whole lot about my childhood because that would involve talking bad about my mother, and she has passed away. And I don't believe in talking bad about people who have passed away, but I did make a video about what that was like. But I said to my husband, honestly, our marriage has lasted this long because in comparison to my childhood, this is nothing. You know what I mean? And my husband wanted me to yell at the guys that were working on the AC. And that's the thing. My mom was someone that would yell at everyone until they wished they were never born. Like yell at people that were working on her AC or at a restaurant or forgot the pickles on a sandwich or something. To me, like, life's too short to yell at everyone, but I do yell at my husband and kids. I told my husband, the reason I have confidence to yell at you guys is because I know that you'll always be there for me, even if I yell at you, you know. Doesn't mean I want to be a yeller. I still apologize. It's just, anyway. Yes, Saturdays and Sundays are available. How long have I been married? We got married on June 1st, 2013. So, June, 5 years. But it feels like a lot more than that. We have been through 4 major moves during that time. Cindy Bennett, when you say Saturday at 10:15 a.m., are you talking about your time, which would be 9:15 my time? Please tell us the time zone along with your time so that we know what our time zone will be. Cindy Bennett is planning on going live on Saturday, so definitely subscribe to her and click her notification bell. June 1st. And the funny thing is, a friend of mine, Emily, hey Emily, if you're there, I went to her wedding and it was the night before my morning wedding, and she told me she was gonna come to my wedding, which I did not expect her to come, which would be the morning after her wedding night. It's like, no, honey, as much as you love me, you're not coming. And she texted me the day of and was like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't make it. I was like, girl, I didn't expect you to make it. But we did some of our wedding planning together. I went with her to David's bridal, and I was the only one with her when she picked out her wedding dress, and I saw wedding dress prices, and I confirmed in my mind that I definitely wanted to sew my own wedding dress. I sewed my own wedding dress for $200, and she spent I feel like her dress was $700, but then she had to have $500 in work done to it. It was like $1,200 at the end of everything. So anyway, I was also the only one there because she had a special, like, she had a train on her dress that later from the between the ceremony and the banquet hall or whatever, you had to pin up the train like with buttons and hooks and stuff, and I was the only one that got trained how to do that. So I definitely had to go to her wedding, which was the night before mine, and so we did that. And I also saw America has an interesting tradition at weddings of trashing the couple's car. And some people do it to an extreme, like their car looked really bad. My husband had the opposite perspective. He spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours cleaning his car inside and out. And I had an aunt, I have an aunt who told me that her son, my cousin, is real good at trashing cars for weddings, and he was planning on doing it for mine because he came to my wedding. I had to write threatening notes and leave them on the windshield of the car and let them know, you're at the wrong wedding for that, guys. You will ruin my husband's wedding day. I said, if you didn't pay for the wedding, you can't trash the car. That's what I said on the because the thing is, we have two different cultures that we're taking into account here and different personalities. My husband wanted the car to look immaculate for us to leave in. So if my cousins who are experts at trashing cars, good for you, cousins, back off. You're welcome to the wedding. You're not welcome to trash our car. What David wanted was, I got white window markers and I put a heart on the back and I wrote just married. That's all he wanted. That's all we did. Anyway. So you guys are telling some stories about cars getting trashed. I've seen some that were creative where they like filled the car with balloons or something, but some people really like go all out and make it nasty, and I don't think that's that great. Also, some people trash their wedding dresses afterwards. I get it that you're not going to use it again, but if you spent hundreds of dollars on something, it's kind of like awful to destroy it, just saying. But anyway, I don't know how we got on the topic of weddings, but yeah. Anyway, we had a very affordable wedding, and a lot of the decorations, okay, I was the wedding planner. A lot of the decorations were made by me from supplies from Dollar Tree. See, Valentine's, they have a lot of decoration stuff that's Valentine's type theme. So I got a bunch of fake flowers and everything, and tablecloths and everything that we needed. Tablecloths, fake flowers, vases, flower arrangements for the tables and everything. So for the tables, we had fake flowers. Also from Dollar Tree, I got the pew bows that it comes in a package, and you just pull one string and it turns into this lovely white bow, and you use tape, or I think it had tape on it, and you just stick it to the pew. So we had pew bows going all the way down, and I bought online for like $20 a white carpet to walk down the middle, which was pretty cool. My mom paid for our flowers. So my mom paid for my bouquet. And we heard at the last minute that there's a thing that you can do at weddings where you can honor the mother of the bride and groom with a bouquet of flowers. So we decided to do that for my mom, mother-in-law, and stepmom. So because my stepmom was there, I wanted to honor her as well. Even though I didn't really grow up with her, she's really important to my dad. So I honored her as well with that. My mom played violin at my wedding, which was one of my dreams as well. I also made the wedding cake myself. That was probably, it's because wedding cakes are super expensive, and I had a specific way I wanted to do them. We had cupcakes. I made 200 cupcakes, and we had like 88 people show up to our wedding, or 77. I don't remember. It was a double number. Anyway, I think it was 77. So we planned for 200, had 77. Good enough. I also made all of the photo collage invitations and sent them out like postcards, and I made photo collages for the I made the little bulletins myself. So everything was basically like cheaper because I made it. I also sewed the 4 bridesmaid dresses and my wedding dress. And yeah, my mom paid for the little boutonnieres. Are they called boutonnieres? The little rose that goes on the lapel. But yeah, Danny spent less than $100. Good job. I spent $50 total on 4 bridesmaid dresses. That was just the fabric. And I spent $200 on materials for my dress. And basically for the pastor, my mom gave him like $100. And for the church, it was actually you pay a deposit and get it back when the church is back in the condition that you left it in. So my husband and I drove off into the sunset and turned our car back around and came back into the church and changed into regular clothes and helped clean it up with everybody. So we were hands-on with our wedding. We didn't have dancing. We didn't have alcohol. But we had a reception. We had my bridesmaids and I made the fruit skewers. We made 200 of them. We made 200 cupcakes with chocolate covered strawberries on top. And my husband and I had a little cake that I made. And I painted the Precious Moments statues. I can show you that part. Oh. Oh, yeah. These were on the tables. So you know how some people throw rice or use silly string? We did bubbles. So we got these at Dollar Tree as well. They say just married on them. I got a ton of them, 200 to be exact. And we put these little ribbons and taped them on all of them. And then this on the wedding cake that I made, it had a little groomsman, had a little ring bearer, had a couple of little bridesmaids. I colored them to be the colors of our actual people in our wedding. My friends' daughters had their little red and white flower girl dresses from another wedding. So all I had to buy for them was shoes. So I bought them shoes, and they were flower girls at our wedding with dresses that they had from a different wedding. But it worked out. So yeah. Anyway, sorry to bore you guys with that. But it just goes to show you don't have to go into debt to have a good time. Anyway. So yeah, these are the centerpieces that I made that I was trying to describe to you. I made it out of Dollar Tree things. These are at Dollar Tree. I had that inside of a vase, and the vase had like little clear rocks in it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty. So yeah, we had a nice little wedding. So at the pretty little church that I went to in college, that whenever I was in college, I was always like, oh, I would really like to get married in this church because it's a beautiful chapel. It has a big cross in the front, and it has stained glass windows. And it's small enough for like a small little wedding. It's a really nice little chapel. And they let us have it there, so that was so nice. Anyway. Oh, you want to see pictures? Okay, 1 second. One moment, let me pull it up. I don't have a whole lot of pictures on Facebook, but I will show you a couple. You do, baby? Okay, I'll come down in a minute, honey bunny. Or you could bug your daddy, which I wouldn't mind at all, but he would just tell me to come down and change it. Oh, this is our... the other thing I was blessed with was a friend of mine is a photographer, and she did our professional photography at the wedding. Oh, and I got my nails done for the wedding. That was one picture. This is, so you can see, my mom's holding her bouquet that we gave them. This is my mom. Come on, focus. There we go. My mom, my mother-in-law, me, my husband. I also like, you can't really tell, but I put light blonde highlights, light brown low lights, and a little bit of red in my hair, but it kind of all blended together to look natural. But I did that like the night before the wedding. Risky, I know. This is my dad and stepmom. My stepmom's holding her bouquet. My dad did come and give me away, which was also awesome. He lives in Arkansas, so he made a drive, 8-hour drive. There we go. So the tradition of the father of the bride paying for the wedding, he paid for the gas to drive up. My best friends from college came all the way from Texas, and my sister, who is, you know, my birth half sister, she's in an adopted family. She got special permission from her parents, and her whole family came. And I told her it was a dream come true that she was my bridesmaid. She said it was a dream come true that she was my bridesmaid. So that was really awesome. I made the bridesmaid bouquets out of Dollar Tree flowers. I made them before I ever met my husband because I was making like a little, someday when I get married, I'm going to use these things in my wedding, you know, my box of like, I'm not gonna be single forever, hopefully. So I got just cheap at Target fake pearl necklaces for all of them, and they all had a blue flower in their hair. And I got them all on Amazon. I got them all lace gloves, which were dainty. Come on. So these are my 3 best friends from college. And right over here, this is my sister, Hannah. Come on, focus. There we go. So this is Hannah, my sister. This is Jeanette. That's me. That's Jenny and Jamie. Jenny and Jamie are sisters of each other. So we had to take some silly photos, of course. I pretended to faint. So I was really blessed that my friend who did the photography for our wedding, she only charged me $100 or $150, something like that. It was real cheap. We had to do a crazy jumping in the air photo. That was ridiculous. Here's one with our brothers. We each have a brother that came to the wedding. I also have another brother, but he couldn't make it. There we go. My other brother is 11 years older than me, and he just, I practically begged him to come, but he wasn't able to. I think I even offered to pay his plane ticket, but he didn't, couldn't get off work or something like that. But I'm real thankful that my mom was able to, one second, let me see. I'm real thankful that my mom was able to be there since, you know, later she passed away and everything. One moment, let me find Where's the profile pictures? Okay, 1 second. I know you guys came to hear about my wedding today, right? Not. Okay, here's our wedding cake. So we had our individual little cake that I made, and everybody got cupcakes at the wedding. So that's how I chose to do it to save money. That's us cutting the cake. Come on, focus. So you can see my cute little cake. And we had sparkling grape juice for that tradition of crossing arms. And isn't that a cute photo? My dad actually took that photo. That one wasn't the photographer, but it turned out really cute. This one's my favorite photo from the wedding by far. Come on. Isn't that cute, guys? I love that one. That's my favorite photo of us ever. And for some reason, my husband really likes this photo, and I really don't, but I'll show it to you anyway. I think we look dumb. He thinks we look awesome. Difference of opinion. Come on. There we go. Anyway, good times, good times. Oh, this is another good one. This is the last one I'll show you. So you know how people were blowing bubbles? Well, the photographer took a picture of us walking out, and they were blowing bubbles. Then she edited the photo. The bubbles look awesome. We look awesome. We look like celebrities in this photo, in my opinion. If I can get focus. Isn't that an amazing photo? I really like that one. So anyway, it was my dream for a long, long time to sew my own wedding dress and have chocolate covered strawberries at my wedding and have my mom play violin and have my sister be one of the bridesmaids and have my best friends come up from Texas to be in my wedding. And basically all of my little dreams came true. You like my hair that color? Thank you. It's pretty close to how it is right now, except for a little bit of red in it. Hubby's future is so bright, he's got to wear shades. That's sort of his style, wearing sunglasses. It's just his style. So since it's kind of like I was in control of what I wore and he was in control of what he wore, and I wasn't going to boss him around. So he wanted to wear his sunglasses for the photos. I let him wear his sunglasses for the photos. So I didn't start the naggy wife thing until a week into the marriage. Just kidding. Anyway, I did not have doubts before our wedding, but he did. But we still got married. Yay! Okay. All right. Sorry, a friend just sent me a message about a situation that we're praying for. Anyway, so yeah. So Danny, did you say I'm a wedding dreamer? You see, what happened was the thing is, when you grow up with a really nice family, you might not spend your whole life dreaming of a different family, right? But when you have a rotten childhood, you tend to, at least if you're me, when you want to focus on the positive, you can focus on someday I'm going to be a mom and I'm going to be in control of what goes on in the family. Because if mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So in the home I was in, it wasn't happy. So I was like, you know what? Someday we marry some guy that likes me for who I am and have some kids, and we're going to raise them in a loving, healthy, happy home. And hopefully we're not going to get divorced, and our kids are going to be happy, and we're going to have a good. So it's sort of like, instead of focusing on the present, when I was having a rotten childhood, I focused on kind of the future. And sorry. So then when I went to Bible college and the guys I liked didn't like me and the guys that liked me, I didn't like them, I just wrote letters to my future husband. I'm like, I wish you were here. And I filled up 7 journals. It'd be like, this sucks. Wish you were here. You exist, right? So, also, like, I saved myself for marriage, so I didn't choose to, like, date a bunch of guys and stuff. So, I was kind of, like, trying to wait for the right guy. And so when the right guy wasn't around, I would just write letters to whoever I would marry anyway. You guys know I can talk someone's ear off, right? I could do that in a journal too. I could write a book. I just don't know if anyone would read it. David has read some of the journals and he likes them and all. It just kind of shows that I've matured a lot since then, because it was a lot of like, when I was in college, I thought I was an adult and I wasn't. And I've matured a lot since college. So yeah. I wrote a lot of Bible verses and drew pictures in there too that also took up space, and wrote quotes from books, and I read books about marriage and all that lovely stuff. I took a lot of, since I had a dysfunctional childhood, I can say that because that's accurate. I took a lot of marriage and family counseling classes in college. And I took a class called Counseling Depression. I took a class called Counseling Marriage and Families. I took a class called Introduction to Counseling, Introduction to Biblical Counseling. I took a class that's like about doing women's ministry and being a good wife and mom and all that stuff. And because it was Bible college, you know. I took one class. I took another counseling class too, right? I took a few counseling classes. So, I took, like, it was a peacemaking class about, like, how to make peace. Anyway, all that to say, when I was in college, I was researching how to have a functional family. So some of what I live today is a result of that, I suppose. Just getting an idea of how to be healthy in a marriage, because it's kind of like, if you just know what you don't want to be, that's not a good thing to focus on. Because if you're like, I don't want to be that, you'll either, like, say, my parents were not alcoholic, but if you have an alcoholic parent, you look at them and say, I don't want to be that, you either become that or the opposite of that. And sometimes the opposite of dysfunctional isn't functional. You know what I mean? You just, like, go down a different addiction path or something. But so I wanted to have positive things to learn and focus on during college. So I kind of looked at college as like a time of figuring out how to have a healthy adulthood as opposed to my unhealthy childhood, if that makes any sense. So I kind of like, college was kind of like a time of transitioning from an awful childhood into figuring out how to not do that to my own kids. Pretty much. I spent most of my life worried that I would become my mom, and then I realized I'm not my mom. I'm my own person. I make my own decisions. I have a different personality than her. I may have tendencies that are similar to her, but I can choose whether or not I want to feed that monster. You know what I mean? They say I don't know if it's a proverb. It's not a Christian one, but but I've heard it in some sermons before that you have 2 dogs inside of you, okay? A good one and a bad one. Which one wins the fight of who you are or who you become is the one that you feed. So I didn't want to feed the bad dog. I wanted to feed the good dog. So I kind of spent, I don't know if me explaining that proverb makes any sense at all. But anyway, I wanted to feed the good dog, not the bad dog. For the most part, it's working. Anyway. My feedback panda is not working. Anyone else? Cindy Bennett, you pay $10 a month, $15 a month for that. It was very cool. I realized she had been a kid too. I couldn't keep mine though. I was a bad kid. Journals must be the easy way for parents to spy on us. Like, you think you hid that? I'ma find it. I've heard of that. Yeah. Okay. Kelly's feedback panda worked today. Okay. You should write a book dedicated to your children for the future. Another thing you guys don't know about me is I have a website with all of my poetry I've ever written on it. When I was a kid, I made it my goal to write 100 poems and publish a book of poetry. But instead, I kind of published a blog with all of my poems on it. And I kind of feel like that's good enough. The funny thing is, I don't really write poetry anymore. I kind of stopped around the time I met my husband. It's kind of like a lot of coping mechanisms that I needed to get through my childhood. I haven't needed them in adulthood. And one of those is writing poetry and journaling. Because I'm having a healthy adulthood, I don't need to do a whole lot of that, if that makes any sense at all. But a lot of that was me survival mode. And now I'm not in survival mode. It's nice. It's nice to be out of survival mode. But I needed outlets, positive outlets for negative energy. And writing poetry was one of them. Danny said she journaled to figure herself out. Yeah. I may someday write a book, but it's not going to be when my children are the age that they are now. Maybe when they're in high school. Right now, one of the things I do is I make videos of us going to the zoo, YouTube videos too and stuff. And that's sort of a creative outlet for me. And it's a way that I'm making that for my kids so that they can, see what we did. Yesterday it was too hot to go anywhere and Daddy was at work. So we watched the video of a couple months ago when we went to the zoo with Daddy, and we really enjoyed watching it. We got to see all the animals without going outside. We got to see us hanging out with Daddy while Daddy was at work. So that was cool. It's cool. So anyway, Cindy Bennett said that her feedback panda is working now. Very good. So thanks for letting me talk y'all's ears off. I'm going to have to get going and take care of my family, but I hope that you have a lovely day. Yes, my AC is working. That's why my face is not red and glistening. It's a little bit shiny. Probably need a shower. All right. Bye, guys. I love you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a great day.